you got to give value to become valued.
Welcome to The Pursuit. I'm your host, Ben Spangle. I'm excited to have you here today. At our show, we're all about helping you in the pursuit of your best body, mind, spirit, and life. Thanks for being here. You're going to love our episode today. I've got my friend Dakota Robertson, and many of you probably already follow Dakota on Twitter or Instagram. If you don't, I know by the end of this, you're going to be wanting to, that's for sure. Dakota is the founder of Growth Ghost. He's got some of the fastest growing social media accounts in Instagram and Twitter. And that's how I first came across from him. And we've chatted a couple of times since then. But he's a writer. He's, great in marketing, social media. So you're going to love today's episode. If you're looking for tactical strategies, number one, follow Dakota. Number two, you're going to love today too. Dakota, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah. Thank you for the great intro. I feel flattered. So thanks.
Well, it's cool what you've created in a really short window too. And I, as I've gotten to know you a little bit, and then of course being a part of your newsletter and everything, learning lots about you, it's fascinating to me because the success you have today is very cool after multiple failures in business. But then also too, as I've learned a bit about your story, I mean, very unlikely, I think, for a lot of people that go through what you went through. So I love starting with stories because it gives people perspective of you can go from anywhere and get where you want to be. So why don't we start with that? Tell us a bit about your background and your story.
Yeah. So I was born in 1998. We're going all the way back.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, long story short, like I grew up with a father. He chose to smoke crack. My mom gave him an ultimatum, like, hey, you can raise your sons or you can go do that shit. He chose to continue smoking crack or whatever. So my mom raised me. My brother, he has a condition called cystic fibrosis, which is like a lung condition. But he went to live with my grandparents. So I was raised by my mom, very hardworking lady. She was a waitress, worked her ass off, 2 jobs. Eventually found a boyfriend. He was a drug dealer. But while she was working, he would take care of me. And I was taking on all kinds of drug deals all the time. Wow. I was left in the car for hours on end. And back then we didn't have phones or sure, Game Boys and stuff like that to play with. So I would literally just sit out in the car and just stare out a window for hours. It sucked. But yeah, I grew up very close to my mom. I was a mama's boy for sure. Took on a lot of female traits because my mom's boyfriend, he wasn't a good role model, and he wasn't, I don't know, he just wasn't a good role model. But I was very affectionate toward my mom, and yeah, that caused me to, that lack of male role model caused me to be more timid, more shy, just kind of more to myself. And that kind of came out in different ways growing up. So I was shy, and I would get kind of made fun of a little bit for being the shy kid, or I would cry easily. I was very sensitive. Eventually I kind of coped with different things by eating too. So I got a little bit chubby. I got called a chubby chunker at school, and kind of just pointed out by kids for being a bit fatter. And when you're young and you hear kids call you those names and stuff, you start to internalize it.
Absolutely.
And you take on that identity of someone that's worthless or doesn't view themselves in high regard. So yeah, it was a struggle for me growing up, just struggling with low self-esteem, not feeling good about myself, and that caused me to eat more and stuff like that. So it was a shitty cycle. But around the age of 13, I was in so much pain. If I just did not like myself and who I was, playing video games all the time, eating a shit ton, and just, I don't know, being treated shitty by people. I just got really fed up by it. And I don't know who was the one to suggest it, but I started going to YMCA boot camps with my mom's boyfriend. And we would wake up at like 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. before school, and we would hit the YMCA boot camp, and I just fucking work my ass off, and I would sweat, and there's times I would run to the bathroom and throw up because I
Wow.
was working out so hard. Because it was
Yeah.
this, I remember this, the instructor Jeff. It was these TRX bands and stuff. It was these boot
Yeah. Yeah.
camps, and Jeff was like a drill sergeant, and I loved it. And he would just push us to the absolute max. And after every workout, I felt a bit better about myself because I'm like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
moving away from that identity and moving toward the identity I want.
Hmm.
So I kept doing that for a few years, got thin, or I like lost the weight,
Hmm.
grade 9, and people started treating me differently. It was interesting just noticing when you look different physically, how people treat you differently. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
that's cool. Around the age of 16, I got jacked because I started hitting the weights with my brother, and I respond well to weightlifting. So
Hmm.
I sized up pretty fast when I started doing that. People really started treating me differently then because I was known as the jack kid.
Hmm.
And it's funny is like everyone saw me as someone different, but inside I still felt like that fat kid, that insecure fat kid, because
Hmm.
I adopted that identity early on,
Hmm.
and that took a lot of work to overcome. But yeah, eventually around 18, one of my friends, he introduced me to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and
Hmm.
that's when I got introduced to the self-development world, and started just nerding out on psychology books, investing, philosophy, all this stuff. And then really sparked my interest in the entrepreneur game. um oh yeah, and around the age of like 13, 14, my mom and her boyfriend, they broke up, and that was hard on my mom. My mom went to drinking, and then she went to cocaine, and then cocaine went turned into crack. This was over a span of like 5 years, but I watched my mom just turn into a different person, and
Wow.
that was hard. Yeah, that was hard
Yeah.
shit. But eventually she died from a fentanyl laced crack overdose when I was 19. And yeah, at that time I was living with my grandparents and stuff, but yeah, it was pretty rough to see that. That had a big impact on me. But
No kidding.
yeah, but eventually I found Twitter, dived into that world, and now it's kind of my life. Yeah,
It-
sorry, I was like a lot of shit all over the place. I'm trying to find, I gotta write out a way to summarize it just really cleanly. I just
Uh,
go scatterbrain whenever
uh,
people ask me what my story.
yeah, it's a powerful story, though. I mean, you think about certainly when you're younger too, a lot of the pain, turning the pain into discipline and fitness, and then noticing how, in a perfect world, it probably wouldn't be that way. That the way you looked impacted how you got treated, but we don't live in that world, and it's just the reality of what happens, right? So it
Yeah.
can you talk? So you read Rich Dad Poor Dad at 18, which by the way, I'm actually interviewing Sharon Lecter later today, so we're gonna be talking
Oh,
about.
no way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy. That's
yeah,
sick.
yeah. It's gonna be cool. Um, and but I know because I think you lived in Alberta at the time where I lived too, and so you ended up in Twitter, but there's several different. You're in the oil field. You got a few different businesses, different things you tried. Talk a bit about that, and then we're gonna get into life today.
Yeah, so when I was 18, my school had a program where you can graduate 6 months early from regular school, from high school, and get put into this year-long program to become an electrician.
Okay.
And my brother took that route, and I didn't know what I wanted to do going out of high school. So like, okay, screw it. I'll become an electrician, make some money, and while I figure things out. So yeah, I enrolled that program. I did it for a year. I became a first year electrician,
Mm-hmm.
and right away I went up to the oil fields or oil and gas industry as an electrician because my brother was working up there and he had connections.
Mm-hmm.
So he helped me out and got me an intro to a company. Went up to, what was it, Pink Mountain in Alberta or something, some weird name.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I went out there and immediately was working 12, 14-hour days in the freezing cold in Alberta in the middle of nowhere, away from
Mm-hmm.
friends, family, all that stuff. And the people out there were just absolutely miserable, man. They were
Mm.
just dicks, just absolutely miserable. And when you're the young guy too coming on, of course you get picked on and shit like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like elementary, middle school all over again. You know, you're just getting
Yeah.
picked on for just being different. And it's like, God damn it, I hate this shit. And I'm just doing such unfulfilling work, like
Yeah.
practically a laborer.
Yeah.
And I was just miserable, man. I was just so miserable, and every day I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here." And it was just eat, sleep, repeat, like eat, sleep,
Mm-hmm.
work, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get depression, but I was definitely on the brink of depression, just being
Mm-hmm.
that at that job for months. And I was like, "Holy shit, I can't believe this is what life is like outside of school." It was just holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
But while I was working, I would listen to try to listen to podcasts. I
Mm-hmm.
would and there's one podcast I listened to is the Jordan Harbinger show or Art of Charm. I forget what it was called at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I know he mentioned he went to Vietnam when he was younger, and he said it was a life-changing trip or something along those lines. So that got like put in my ear and was like, oh, maybe I should go travel or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so unfulfilled here and I just feel dead inside. So yeah, eventually I got just so fed up of working at that gas plant and just feeling so unfulfilled. I was like, fuck, I wonder what else is out there. And I remember I was sitting, or I wasn't sitting, but I was standing knee high in mud at this
Mm-hmm.
fucking gas plant. And I was standing there. I saw the most beautiful sunset of my life. I was staring. I'm like, God, I gotta go out. I gotta like travel or some shit. I gotta see what's out there. So I was planning to go to Southeast Asia and just I don't know, just explore it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like 6 months later when I was planning it, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so eventually booked the ticket. I had a friend ask if he could join too. He did, but I quit my job, or I got laid off. I asked to get laid off, respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically quit my job when December rolled around. I went to Southeast Asia. I did a month in Thailand, a month in Vietnam, and a month in Cambodia, and uh, I had an absolute blast. It was amazing. It was such a culture shock. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
I stepped off that plane, I was like, holy shit, I'm quite literally across the world right now. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just because I made a decision, and it felt very empowering just realizing, oh, you can do that. You can just
Mm-hmm.
book tickets to places and go. You're an adult now. And it was really interesting to have that paradigm shift to realize, oh, you can do shit.
Mm-hmm.
And on that trip, we did all kinds of things crazy. It was like something out of a movie. It was crazy, just the amount of adventures we went on and stuff. But on that trip, I realized how much I enjoy freedom and freedom to do
Mm-hmm.
what you want, live where you want, have the lifestyle that you want, not have a shitty boss tell you what to do, where to go, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really just really pushed me toward, okay, I got to figure out a way to live a life where I can do this whenever I want, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but after that trip, I went back to working as an electrician with my brother on a project. This time I was working with him on the project, and that was a lot better because it was a lot better energy, less miserable people on that that work site, and that was also when I got introduced to crypto
Mm-hmm.
because one of the guys was really into crypto and he was getting my brother into it. And I was like, well, Clayton, you should like watch out. Like, I don't know about that stuff. It's kind of crazy. And then I started researching it and diving into it. I'm like, oh shit, look, there's actually stuff here. It's not just some magic internet money bullshit. There's actually a lot of good utility that's coming out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So man, I got hooked. When people that are in crypto know, like that start point when you realize it's actually a thing, you just get hooked. You become addicted. You're like, holy shit, this is crazy. You just research or you listen to all these things and you imagine yourself all these untold riches and stuff
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
line. So this is 2018, and
Yeah.
I started investing all my paychecks into crypto. Just
Mm.
everyone's buying like these lifted trucks and stuff like that. I was buying magic internet money,
Yeah.
and this was after the crash, the big crash of 2017 too.
Yeah. That's
So
right. Yeah.
a lot of people thought I was crazy, I was
Yeah.
like, no, 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 this is gonna work. Like, I'm not crazy, I swear.
Yeah.
And so I was investing for a good 2, 3 years, and the whole time it's just going down, down. I just
Yeah.
kept throwing money, and I'm like, no, no, it's like it's gonna go up again. People are
Yeah.
just like, yeah, yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Turns
so I
out
just
you
kept,
weren't.
yeah, dude, yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I just invested a shit ton of money into crypto. And that's what got me on Twitter, because I would stay on the news with stay up to date with the news
Oh
on
yeah.
Twitter.
Sure.
But yeah, and during that time, like those 2, 3 years, 2018 to 2020, I tried different things to kind of make money on my own, but I never stuck with anything. I tried Amazon FBA, I tried blogging, I tried fixing and flipping iPhones,
Yeah.
selling stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
I just didn't have an interest in it, so I didn't do it for long, and that's why I
Yeah.
failed at it. I'm sure if I
Yeah.
stuck with one of them, it would have turned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just never found anything I liked. But one day I was on Twitter and I was scrolling, and I came across a course. I don't know how, but it was a course on how to grow on Twitter
Mm.
from one big account. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I remember the journal entry. I have the journal entry somewhere. It's like, I don't know where this is going to go. Seems interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Something along those lines. And this was September 17th of 2020. And I was actually in college at the time, because I was like, fuck it, I'm going to become a high school teacher, because I think that's something I would enjoy. I like teaching people.
Yeah.
And that's a common theme. I bounced around from job to job and all this different stuff, because I was just so unsatisfied with everything. But yeah, so I was in my second year of college at this time, and found this course, bought the course, took the course, only grew to 750 followers in 3 months, because it was just bad advice in the course.
Mm.
And we got to December of 2020, and I'm working at Domino's at the time. I'm in college, and I'm like, shit, like I got to make a change with my account. I came across a guy that was a copywriting account that was growing fast. He recommended I switched to something like copywriting for the theme of my account.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but also I'm gonna go all in on this. Fuck,
Mm.
fuck school. Because I'm in my second year, but I'm learning more on Twitter than I am in school, because I got introduced to the entrepreneur Twitter,
Yeah.
and I said screw it. I dropped out. I quit my job at Domino's, and I started a completely new account on Twitter. I had no idea how I was going to make it work, but I was just determined I'm going to make this work, and just went hard with Twitter. And yeah, eventually like grew to 1,000 followers in 40 days on Twitter. And I was like, oh shit, this is working. Just kept going at it and kept growing my account. And eventually got to like 4,000 followers, hired a coach to help monetize Twitter.
Yeah.
And it was Danco. A lot of
Oh
people know
yeah.
Danco.
Yeah. Yeah.
He helped me monetize a ghostwriting offer. Within 28 days of launching that, I hit like 11K a month. I was like, oh, this is sick. This is crazy. And then from there, just scaled my brand, scaled my business, learned a lot along the way. And yeah, it's been a cool ride so
That's
far.
incredible. So 2 years ago, you just started that account then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been nuts.
And
Yeah, yeah.
how many followers, just so everybody understands now how quick things can happen?
I think I'm at like 430,000 followers total. I think
Yeah.
Twitter is like 195.
Yeah.
Instagram's 210, 212.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's like 25 or something.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
That's
nuts.
amazing. Like you think it was only 2 years ago, you had nobody following you, had just started. And now you
100%.
got almost 500,000. Um,
Yeah.
what's cool about your story too, is you were telling it, there's different parts that I hadn't heard before, but you think about successful people and different things. One is they usually start with a question, something along the lines of, there's got to be a better way, right? So you're saying, I want freedom. So you go to Southeast Asia, take this trip and thinking there's got to be a better way than what I'm doing. And then later in your story, I find it interesting too, because you were trying all these different things. And then you said, but I just didn't like any of them. And so many people, I think today, when they're on their path, their pursuit of success, they're saying, how can I make money? How can I just make money? But then they start doing stuff that they might not even love. maybe it does make them money, but they keep doing it for years and it's not even something they like doing.
Yeah.
And you did the opposite. You're trying all these different things. And so for everybody watching and listening, if you think about, are you 25 now or 24?
I'm 25.
He's 25, making big money, right? Amazing lifestyle, gets to do what he wants to do, has the freedom he wants. And one of the secrets to his success, I can just tell by talking to Dakota, is that you were willing to try multiple things, figure it out, find a way. What is that actually like? And then lastly is you talked about when you found something you liked is you made a decision. I'm going to go all in. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way. And then here you
Yeah.
are today.
Yeah.
Pretty cool formula.
Yeah, man. I think that's 100% the reason why I've found any success in life is because of my willingness to do uncomfortable things. So when I started in the gym, very uncomfortable because it's something new. I don't really feel like everyone's judging me, all that. I was like, fuck it, I was just gonna do it. Because I felt such a pain and like I have to make a change. Same thing with trying these different jobs. Like I feel this pain, but I gotta do something else. Like I can't do this. So I was willing to look stupid or whatever, feel like I was being judged for trying something new.
Yeah.
Posting social media content. It's scary at first, but you just gotta do it.
Yeah.
You just gotta tell your voice, your inner bitch to shut the F up. Honestly, man, like it's people get so in their emotions, and I do too, but it's just you just gotta tell it to shut up. Like, no, you just logic, you get more in your logic side brain and you just do the thing.
There you
because like what's the alternative, man? You see people, man, I saw people that were 60 working in the oil and gas industry and they're just broken. They got nothing to show for their life, and you just tell like, oh, these people just work their entire lives, and God, that's a sad existence in my opinion, at least for my life.
Yeah,
maybe not for them.
No, I'm with you, man. I mean, I think that if you're not doing something that you want to do, there's probably the odd person in that industry that it's truly what they love and they're doing it, but it would be rare. And I think that's true for most careers, most things. Most people are not doing stuff that they would love to do, right? If they won the lottery, it's not something they'd keep doing. And that's a good indication, again, for everyone listening. If you're thinking, no, I wouldn't keep doing it, you may not have found exactly what you're looking for, right? Find something that you love. Let's switch gears. So there's your story. There's some great success in there. Let's talk social media. Let's talk a bit of marketing. I mean, most people listening, they want to grow their personal brand more. They would love to go from 0 to 500,000 followers ish in a few short years. I mean, they'd love to grow by 10,000. So let's start with that. So if I'm listening right now, I've got 300 followers, 400 followers, 500, 1,000, let's say somewhere around there. Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be. What are some places you would start with in terms of recommending? How can you start to even grow that?
Yeah. So first off, I would look at, okay, what kind of content do you want to produce? So if you're more of an introvert, maybe start with writing. And what are the platforms you can start with writing? Well, there's Substack, there's Twitter. Twitter's my baby. There's Medium. There's all kinds of different platforms, but you got to choose like which platform you want to go on. If you're more video, you're more talking, then YouTube. If you're, I don't know, more visual, then maybe Instagram. So I'd first off pick one platform. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I got to be on TikTok, Twitter, all this stuff. It's like, no, I just pick one and master that first. Just put your focus onto that and grow that one first. And all right, so how do you grow on a platform? I've grown multiple ones, and this is what's worked for me. It might be different for other people. But when I first started my Twitter account, I was trying to talk about everything. It's like, oh, I got interest in philosophy. I got interest in fitness, all this. So I was just talking about all these different things, but I barely grew because I just didn't have this focus. I was just talking about broad topics, self-improvement. And there's so many people doing that. You just don't stand out. So when you're starting out, no one cares who you are. So I found growth, or I found more traction when I switched my account to a writing account, and I got very specific about what I talked about at the beginning. I talked about writing, and I gave actual advice on the topic. So I'd educate myself from courses, books, well, that was about it. Courses and books and YouTube videos. I would apply what I was learning, and then I would teach it on the timeline. So I had this rule: one piece of actual advice every single day, or my head explodes. So you see everyone on social media posting this fluff content, there's motivation or whatever,
Hmm.
and that's cool and all. But if you really want to grow, in my opinion, you have to teach an actionable skill that you have interest in, but there's
Hmm.
also market demand for. So when those two intersect, you go for the one in the middle, and one, since you have interest in it, you're going to enjoy learning about it. So it's not going to feel like effort or a chore to educate
Yeah,
yourself on it. And then
totally.
two, there's market demand for it. So there's obviously going to be people that want to learn it. So you can grow your account and you can monetize down the line. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is there's accounts that have hundreds of thousands of followers,
Hmm.
crazy big accounts,
Hmm.
but they only tweet fortune cookie tweets or motivational content. How are you going to monetize that? There's only
Hmm.
two ways. One, you could sell retweets or story shares or whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then two, I mean, you could ghostwrite, but even then you're not going to know how to write for business owners, stuff like that.
yeah.
So I would encourage people to, yeah, pick a skill, pick something they want to learn that's actionable, you can give actionable advice in, and that there's market demand for. So like sales, marketing, copywriting, email,
Sure.
whatever, and then start teaching on the timeline. One piece of actionable advice every day.
When you say teaching on the timeline, is that what you mean? One piece of advice a day? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So if you make a tweet, like, can they use that? Can they see that tweet and then take action on that and improve
Mm.
their life somehow? And
Hmm.
that could be fitness too.
Hmm.
And then tweet about whatever, post about whatever. Like as long as you're doing that one piece of actionable advice every
I
day, I think
see.
that's key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So just to
Um,
pause for a sec, want to continue on with this, but what you're saying is find the area of interest, something that you enjoy, because then it's not going to be work. Make sure there's market demand. And then every day there's actionable advice. And then you can post if you want to do, motivational quote, here's what I'm having for dinner, whatever. But you've got one piece of advice every day.
100%. So the
Okay.
way I like to think of it. Okay, so you got it's like a tree. So you got your
Yeah.
roots.
Yeah.
Those are your, oh sorry, my Siri's going off. Siri, no. I don't know why she does that. So you have your roots of the tree, and those are
Yeah.
your values, your core beliefs and all that. So those
Yeah.
are like that's the roots of your brand.
Yeah.
And then at the start, you're just building out the trunk. So like you're not worried about branches and shit like that. You just need to build out your formation,
Mm.
your trunk, and that's what you get very specific about is like writing. You're known as the sales guy or the
Yeah.
email marketing guy or copywriting guy, whatever.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
just building your trunk, you're building your base here, and
Yeah.
you're growing your following, you're getting that base following. And then as you grow bigger and bigger, that's when you branch off to more broad things.
Okay.
So, for example, Dan Coe, he started with web design, talking about web design,
Right.
and that's how he grew. And then he branched off to different stuff. Now he's talking about whatever philosophy,
Yeah. Spirituality. I like
holism,
his
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
spirituality, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Same with me. I started with writing, and now I still talk about writing, but I talk
Yeah.
about other things as
Yeah.
well.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
a common theme you'll see is like they start micro and then go macro. And a
Yeah.
lot of people they want to start macro because they see
Yeah.
the big accounts doing
That's right.
that, but
Yeah.
they're struggling to grow. And like, I don't know why. As well, it's because you didn't see what they did before that. You gotta give value to become
Yeah.
valued. And a
Yeah.
lot of people they just haven't given that value,
Yeah.
and people don't care what they say because of that. So if an account starting out says drink water, they're okay, whatever. People are not going to care. If
Hmm.
Naval Ravikant tweeted drink water, James Clear said drink water, people are like, oh my god, yes,
Hmm.
that's the secret
Yeah.
and all that. It's
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they built up that competence and show that they know what they're talking about,
That's right.
and now they earn that right to talk about whatever they want. So that's a big thing. A lot of people don't realize.
That's huge. I mean, that what you just told us and told everybody there, that alone was incredibly valuable just right there to start with that thing. So, questions for you. Just I'm thinking of various people and different things. So, is fitness? So, let's say fitness is my thing. It's not my personal one, but let's say it was. That's what I wanted to brand myself. Is that too broad of a subject then, or that can be my trunk?
I think that could be your trunk. Yeah, and
Okay.
it's I think when it comes to the offer, I think that's when you depends what market you're in. But
Yeah.
say if you're a fitness coach, yeah, you can post about social media or post social media posts about fitness and how to improve in different areas. But if you have an offer, it's like, oh, I'll get you fit. You don't need fitness coaches are out there, it's crazy. Like it's
Mm,
nuts. So you're gonna have to find a way to maybe niche down a bit with your offer or do some unique things, at least in the beginning. Because dude,
hmm.
when you're a big account, people you could put out a broad offer that's not too crazy, and people just buy it because it's you.
That's right.
They know,
Yeah.
like, and trust you.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the beginning, I would say probably niche down or find some kind of USP
Okay.
to separate yourself.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So fitness, finances, like you say, copywriting, something like that, but you pick something.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Um, and then what about tips for engagement? Like, how would you say if they're saying, okay, well, I'm doing that, right? They've got some micro content that they're putting out there. How do you recommend increasing engagement?
Yeah, so it depends what platform you're on. But like
Let's use Instagram. You've got a great following on
Instagram, okay.
Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram. So Instagram, this is the way I've experienced Instagram, what's worked for me, but Reels are for getting new people into your audience because the I look at the analytics and the reach for like new people is actually crazy, and
Mm,
those Reels can pop off quite a bit.
hmm.
Use carousels to nurture your audience. So
Mm,
your carousels or image posts will show to your existing audience and not so much a new audience typically.
yeah.
So you want to use that content to like talk about your story or show authority by giving actual advice, stuff like that. And then your stories are more kind of like those are only your biggest fans will watch your stories because it's like you're
Mm,
sitting through and watching your life. So document, I don't know, funny things that happen or what you're doing. Like I posted a story about me eating beef liver yesterday last night, and it's just like give them a glimpse
nice.
into your life.
Yeah.
And there's a few core principles behind the types of content you should post. So I have this thing called the gap framework. So the G is for growth content. So that's your like basic content that just maybe it could be motivational stuff or whatever, just the basic level stuff that's nothing too crazy, but it's basically just to get you out there and like top of mind because that content's really easy to write.
Yeah.
So there's something called the familiarity bias in psychology, I believe. And
Hmm.
it's like the more you see something or hear something, the more you like it.
Yeah.
So I think
That's
about
right.
the same thing with social media.
Yeah.
Like the pop song you hear, like you hate it at first, then you start
Totally.
singing along after a
Yeah.
week. So
Yeah.
it's like that, I think, with the social media content, the more you could be like top of mind and showing up in people's views, like, oh, okay, it's that guy. I like that guy.
Right.
So there's the growth side of stuff. And then there's the authority based content. So that's the stuff like actionable advice, and you're showing people how to do stuff or
Mm,
take them from pain point to desire. You are the bridge. And just showing that you know your shit, that you're the writing guy or the copywriting guy or the sales guy.
hmm.
And just showing your competence or social proof. And that's gonna build your authority. And so when someone has a problem, like, oh, I want to be a ghostwriter. I don't know how. Oh wait, there's that ghostwriter guy that has an offer. I'm going to go to that guy because he's shown
Mm,
his competence. He's shown he knows what he's talking about. So
hmm.
that's the authority, and you use that to get sales. Um, and then there's the personal side, and I think this is where a lot of people screw up. Is they don't show their story and they don't show their worldview or opinions. They're just neutral. They just
Mm,
maybe they just give authority content or whatever. And I think a lot of people screw this up because at the end of the day, people want to connect with people. It's social media. And when someone connects with someone or they relate with their story or their worldview or whatever,
hmm.
then that's very powerful. So say if two fitness coaches have the same offer, but you just like you connect with the one guy,
Yeah.
you're gonna go with him.
Yeah.
And even
Totally.
you might even pay double or
Yeah.
triple or whatever just because you like the guy.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend that's a fitness coach online I got to know, and I was like, oh, I want to get a fitness coach so I'm more accountable because I've been just slacking on my fitness lately.
Hmm.
So I was like, hey, how much? Like just on a Telegram message. I don't even know what his offer was. Like, hey, do you want how much to coach me? And
Hmm.
he's like $4,000. It's like, okay, done. just paid him. I didn't know what the hell I was buying. I just liked the guy and I
Yeah.
trusted him, and
Yeah.
I bought it, and it was just easy. So that's the power of it when people like you, and you
Yeah.
only get that when you share your story and you share a worldview and all of that. So I really encourage people to do that. That's probably the best way to get engagement,
Hmm.
is if you have a hybrid of the authority content and the personal content.
Yeah.
And I call these viral transformation posts. So where you talk
Okay.
about a transformation you went through, of how you were in pain point, and then how you
Mm,
got to like some kind of achievement. So it's like how I went from broke kid living in a motorhome to making or hitting my first $150,000 a month.
hmm
It's like kind of pain point to accomplishment, and that's the shit that goes viral
And
because people relate with stories.
and are you saying so a post like that? So that's kind of a combination then of here's the personal, here's a bit of my backstory, right? I was living in the motorhome, that kind of stuff, to achievement, but then there's the how to. So it's both authority and personal.
Yeah, so it depends what kind of post it is, but like with Twitter, I don't have enough room to really go into it, but I'll say like at 19 I struggled
Yeah.
with eBay, at 20 I struggled with X, at blah blah blah, at
Yeah.
23 I struggled with Y,
Yeah.
and then but I kept doing ABC. Now I insert an accomplishment, that
Mm,
shit goes viral. Or when you talk about like yeah, my mom died from a fentanyl overdose, my father smoked crack, my grandparents were alcoholics, but today I am insert accomplishment. That's the stuff. It hits an emotion,
it
and it's
totally does.
also a story in
Yeah.
a sense, and
Yeah.
then that's the shit that goes like super viral. People are like, oh, who is this person, all that
Yeah.
stuff, and it
Yeah.
creates that connection with your audience because like, oh, he's been through some shit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, and just so everybody knows that it's not just Dakota saying it. I mean, if you follow his stuff, you'll know that it works. But I saw one of your posts, Dakota, of something like that. And I thought, oh, I've got my story of that. So I did that very thing. 21, started in business. 24, creditors were calling, was like about to go bankrupt. And then I went on to now life today. Right.
Mm.
And, we've generated millions in revenue and everything. And that was my best performing post. It was a
Yeah.
single post. It wasn't a reel. It wasn't even a carousel. It was hands down my best performing post. Was so just so everybody knows exactly, it works. It actually works in a big way.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
like, why do we go to movies? Imagine if we watched a movie where the hero gets everything he wants, there's no struggles, all that
yeah,
stuff. It's like
yeah.
it'd be fucking boring. Like I
Right.
think the Superman used to be like just overpowered, and they had to add the kryptonite aspect
Sure.
to it because no one cared about him. He's super boring. So the more you can talk about your imperfections, your failures, your
Mm,
struggles, that's what people resonate with because it's human. And
yeah,
people are flexing their Rolexes, supercars, all that. That's cool, whatever. But if you really want to build a connection and stand out, talk about your screw ups and your failures and how you
yeah,
overcame that.
yeah, yeah. People, they really do. They relate a lot more to your failures than they do your success, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is most people in life are not anywhere close to where they want to be in terms of the success they want to have, and so they're going through all of that stuff. They're harder on themselves than they need to be, and we all deal with that stuff. So that's beautiful. That's awesome stuff, man. That's really awesome. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else in terms of the social side, but I mean, people could just go back and listen to this last 15 minutes over and over. And I think if you just did that,
Yeah.
you'd probably start growing for sure. So
Yeah.
really good stuff. Question for you on this. This is one last question on that subject. How often do you recommend? So again, let's stick Instagram. A lot of people listening are on IG. How often do you recommend posting? So you've got the authority post once a day, right?
Mm.
Actual advice. And then are you recommending any other kind of post, whether that's a real carousel post, 2 times a day, 3 times a day? What are your thoughts around that?
I'd say if you're I would definitely recommend post every day. Right now I'm not, at
Yeah.
least on Instagram, because I'm
Yeah.
just posting on Twitter mainly and running a business, but I
Yeah.
need to post every day. But if you want to post, or if you want to grow on social media, you have to post every day. Like you
Daily. Yeah.
prior to your head explodes if it does not.
Yeah.
And so I would post at least once a day. If you're only doing Instagram, man, post like 3 times a day.
Hmm.
So I would do the one piece of actionable advice, maybe do a reel,
Yeah.
and then do something else. Do as much as you can without burning out. That's the
Yeah.
main thing. Because I've
Yeah.
seen people go super intensely grow to 10K like real quick, and
Yeah.
then they just burnt out
Yeah.
and they quit. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, maybe I didn't go as intense, but I was just consistent the whole time. And now it's just
Right.
compounded.
Yeah.
So you just got to post as much as you can without burning out, but minimum of one post a day.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome, man. So what's next for you? You've got your company growth goals. I know because you and I talked about it personally, but you've got the cohort you just did. You're still in the middle of that's been going incredibly well.
Mhm.
Maybe tell us a little bit about that because I know there's going to be another one in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now, I learned ghostwriting in and out, and I came up with all the systems and stuff for scaling, and now I am teaching other people how to become ghostwriters,
Mm,
and I'm running a cohort for that right now. This one's like the pilot one. It's been going super well. A
hmm
really good group of people. They're getting really good results and all that stuff. So basically going to systemize that cohort and start running up more of them. But first month, we are going over how to grow on social media. So all the ins and outs,
hmm
building your brand, all that. Second month, we're going into the business of ghostwriting. So showing how to do sales calls. I give them sales scripts, how to
hmm
do outreach, how to do inbound, how to run your systems, how to scale to 50K a month, all that stuff. And then the third month, that's going to be all like taking action. So that's when they're going to start landing clients. They'll be doing outreach. I'm going to be sending clients their way because I have so many people hit me up. So I'll
hmm
match them with business owners and all that, get them clients. But yeah, no, it's yeah, we're halfway in right now, and yeah, it's been kick ass. We got a community on a platform, and we're all interacting, posting dank memes and all that stuff. So it's cool. But yeah, I'll be running another cohort probably in within the next month or something.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, I'm excited for that.
Awesome. And where do you want people to obviously they can follow your accounts? Just give us your Twitter. And are they both the same Twitter and Instagram for your handles?
No,
Oh,
I got different ones,
okay.
unfortunately. But Twitter is wrongs to right, WRITE, and then Instagram is DKOTA Robertson. I paid a guy to get my name changed to DKOTA just to simplify it, but it's one of the two if you're listening to this for
Okay.
Instagram.
Perfect. That's awesome, man. And then yeah, what are you excited about now? You got that going. Where are you heading next?
Bro, I got so much stuff. So I'm launching a community with the copywriter of Wolf of Wall Street, or he did the copywriting for Wolf of Wall Street. Launching a
Okay.
community with him sometime within the next few weeks. And then I'm working with a developer to build a software for has something to do with the ghostwriting cohort. I can't give too many details on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I'm launching that, and I don't know. I'm gonna run up this cohort, keep running it up. So I don't know. I got a lot of stuff on the go. Kind of losing my mind sometimes and trying to balance that with creating content and answering messages.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's really cool, man. Where I look back 2 years ago, I had no idea what it would lead to, and it's been one of the best decisions of my life. Just going forward with it and trying new stuff and getting uncomfortable. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm excited. I just traveling and working, creating content, and I don't know. I just like life a lot right now. It's cool.
It's awesome, man. It shows. It
Yeah.
ever since I've been connected with you the first time, it's just been great to see what you've done, what you've accomplished at a very young age, and in a relatively from finding out what you actually wanted to do and then just trying it, a couple year window. I mean, I'm excited to see where you're going to be in 5 years, where you're going to be in a decade, and
Yeah.
all the incredible things, all the people you've helped, and just a life that I mean, you already live a great life, and to be able to go to a whole new level. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, man. Everybody, listen. I know you love today, right? If you weren't taking notes, you're probably going to want to go back and take notes on this stuff. Listen to it again. Make sure you're sharing this episode. Everybody, virtually everybody, I should say, is looking to grow on social media. There was tons of value here. When you share it, whatever platform it is, make sure you tag Dakota, tag myself. If you're new to the show and you want to hear more great shows like this, make sure you subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you tuning in. Dakota, it's been so good having you, man. This was awesome. I know there was massive value for everybody today, massive value for me too. So thank you for everything you're doing. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you having me on.
You bet.